Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 4 German light scout tank, the Panzer II Luchs. So is the Luchs any good, people? Is it good? Yes, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good scout tank. Now, like all scout tanks, they have, like Tier 4s, they have to face Tier 7s. And in Tier 7, it sucks. They all suck. You can't penetrate anyone, and everybody else's view range is so long, it's longer than yours. They all spot you, you get one shot killed, and you know the story. However, at Tier 4, this thing absolutely kicks butt. It is a beast at Tier 4. At Tier 5, it's very, very good. Tier 6, it starts to come across some problems. There's a lot of tanks that can't penetrate, frontally, especially side. But all of the scout tanks have that problem. And at Tier 7, yeah, it's pretty awful. However, it is a pretty good little tank. Now, it's... Well, let's get into it. Has 340 hit points, which is average for a Tier 4 light scout tank. Now, the best in class is the T50. The Russian T50 has 360, which is a fair bit more. And the worst is the AMX-40, but that's not a scout tank. It only has 300 hit points, and it's basically a heavy tank anyway with the armor it's got on it. Weight-wise, it weighs in at 13 tons, this little tank. It is pretty light. There are lighter tanks, like the KO is only about 10 ton, so you could ram that, but mostly avoid ramming at all costs. The AMX-40 weighs 22 tons. That's the heaviest in class. Now, the speed of this tank, well, it's 60 kilometers an hour in forward and 22 in reverse. The 22 in reverse is, I think, the equal best in class, so that's good to have in a scout tank especially. 60 kilometers an hour in forward, yeah, look, it accelerates quite well. It gets to its speed quite well. It is a nippy little tank. It's not the fastest. The fastest in class is the A20, which does 72 kilometers an hour in forward. And the slowest is the Valentine, which only does, I think, 24 kilometers an hour in forward. Now, does it turn? Well, it turns okay. Even though the track traverse is awful, it only has 33 degrees a second of track traverse. The worst in class is the AMX-40, which has 30, so it's not much better than the AMX-40 at turning. However, I think because it's such a short tank, it doesn't trouble it too much. And at speed, it turns fairly well, but not great. It does take a wider arc than a lot of the other scout tanks, which can be a problem when you want to turn inside and just avoid hitting that rock. And you don't. You hit the rock and your tank stops. So it is a little bit of an issue, but not as bad as I thought it would be. The best track traverse in class is the T80 with 52, and yeah, the worst is the AMX-40. Now, the thing that is bad on this tank, though, that did cause a lot of troubles was the turret traverse. The turret traverse is only 38 degrees a second, which is pretty bad for a light tank. The worst is the AMX-40 with just 27, but like I said, that's, like a heavy tank. The next worst after that would probably be about 40 degrees on the Valentine. So 38's pretty bad. The best in class is the A20 with 52. The reason it's so bad or such a problem in this tank, if you're circling other tanks or they're circling you, like you get into those sort of battles with other scout tanks, it's really hard to keep your gun on the other tank, especially if it changes course. The turret's just too slow, and especially if you're using the Autoloader cannon, which has poor accuracy anyway, trying to hit anything, it's almost impossible while you're moving, unless they're just basically dead in front of you. So yeah, it is a real issue with this tank, and the turret and track traverse combined being poor can be a real problem in this tank. You basically have to drive up behind people, especially the autocannon, stop, aim, unload, and then start moving again, which is highly dangerous in high tier games because you can get one shot killed. Alright, enough about that. The view range of 360 meters is better than average. The best is the sister to this tank, or the brother, whatever you want to call it, the other German scout tank, the Panzer 38T NA meaning really cool, has 370. So it's only 10 meters more. Other than that, this one's the second best. And the worst in class are the three Russians. They always have bad view range at just 320. Now, the signal range on this thing is also awful at just, what it says here, 455. That's really bad. The worst in class, though, is the AMX-40. Of course, it's worse at just about everything, with 360. The best is the M5 Stuart and the M5A1 Stuart, the Chinese version, with 641. It can be a bit of a problem if you're a long way from your TDs, that they won't be able to hear what you're telling them. Hopefully they have a good radio range and you'll be okay. yeah, camouflage wise, the tank is very, very good. It's not as good as the KO, that's the best in class, and it's nowhere near as bad as the AMX 40. Of course, that's the worst, but it's better than average. It is pretty good and does serve you well in most cases, especially if your crew are trained in camouflage and you've got a camouflage net fitted. Gun depression of 10 degrees is, of course, excellent and does enable this tank to hill fight quite well. The turret, the mantlet, is probably the strongest part of the armor. So it's not going to stop a lot, but if you get like Panzer I Siege Tier 3, there's a lot of other sort of scout tanks with autocannons. The mantlet and the frontal plate here is probably the only place you're going to bounce them, and it can help a little bit there. Even other Luxes, it can bounce their autocannons if they happen to hit your mantlet, and it's not an accurate gun, so they sometimes do. And the worst, of course, gun depression in class is the T50 with just 5 degrees of gun depression. The best is the Covenanter, which has minus 15 degrees of gun depression, which is incredible, but it's not a scout tank. Alright, so now let's have a quick look at the grind for this tank. Okay, so until you get the top engine, the tank is slow. Even the second engine here has 180 horsepower, and the top engine has 360, which is double. So the power doubles from the second to third engine. You really need the top engine. It's slow without it, and you'll get wasted. Now, the top turret is optional. Why? Because, here's why. You don't need the top turret to get the autocannon. So if you're going to use the autocannon, you don't need it. I think it does work a little better in the top turret, like might load a little bit quicker or something, but other than that, see, and here's the problem. The top turret will give you a bit more hit points and it gives you better view range. However, you lose traverse. So the turret traverse is 42 with the stock turret and 38 with the upgraded turret. So there is an argument for saying keep the first turret, but don't get hit. Alright, now if you do, anyway, here's the top autoloader gun and here's the top single shot gun. The top autoloader gun has 10 shells in the magazine. It's a 30mm gun. Fires a shell every 0.14 of a second, which is very fast, so you can unload the entire clip in 1.4 seconds. However, it fires 2 shells per click, and it does lose its aim after each firing. So if you want to fire the whole lot in a burst, you need to be pretty much point blank, because with 0.5 accuracy, anything else you'll miss. It takes 18 seconds to load this sucker, which is a really long time at tier 4, where you've got a lot of tanks that have very high rate of fire. So you basically have to run every time to reload or find cover. It is a problem. If you come across a Lux and it's avoiding you, it's because it's reloading, so go and get it. 95mm of pen is the best AP pen of any tier 4 light tank, except for the Valentine, which has 110, but it's definitely the best of any scout tank. The average scout tank has around 60 to 70mm of pen, so 95 is excellent and will still help you. Even tier 6 you can penetrate the back of some tanks, but there are some tanks like the Churchill 7 and stuff where I haven't even unloading fully into their back, I can't even penetrate their back with this gun at point blank. So you've got some things that still can't pen. 30 damage per shot is fantastic for an autoloader, and if you unload the whole clip and they all penetrate, you're going to do 300 damage. That will enable you to kill outright some tier 3s and tier 4s. However, at tier 7, if you're hunting artillery, it won't kill an artillery. Usually not enough unless it's already damaged. So you will have to unload your clip into the artillery at close range and then wait 18 seconds for a reload before you can finish it, which is extremely dangerous because obviously you've been spotted and everybody's going to be trying to shoot at you. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt using this gun for that sort of thing. 0.5 accuracy was spoken about is terrible. 2.1 second aim time is pretty darn good. Now you can use this single shot gun, which avoids the problem I just said then of not being able to kill artillery quickly, having to wait for the reload. It is a 24 rate of fire, which is very, very fast. 67mm of pen, which isn't great, but it's a lot better than the M5 the M5 Stuart, which only has, I think, about 54mm of pen. It's a bloody awful tank, though. Anyway, it has 67 and does 70 damage per shot. The damage per shot is pretty good with that rate of fire. 0.4 accuracy isn't great, but it's a heck of a lot better than the 0.5 on the autoloader. And 2.3 second aiming time isn't too bad. I found this gun actually feels more accurate than 0.4. It's actually not too bad, and it has very good handling, the gun. And it is a good gun, it's just the pen is the problem, especially at higher tiers. Now, you could load premium and get 130mm of penetration out of the gun. I didn't do it. I don't really use premium, but you could if you wanted to. Alright, let's have a quick talk about what I've got fitted on the tank, and then let's get into Tank Inspector and take it from there. I have vents fitted, camouflage net and binoculars fitted, so it's set up a bit like a passive scout. You might be better off with optics and maybe something else, I don't know. I have small repair kit, large first aid kit fitted. My crew is fully trained and my commander has 6th sense, very important in the scout tank, and is working on camouflage, also very important in the scout tank. This guy's working on camouflage, 93%. This guy's working on situational awareness, it's radio operator, increased view range, and this guy's also working on camouflage but isn't quite there yet. Yeah. So let's have a look in Tank Inspector and then get into some gameplay. Let's have a look at the Luchs in Tank Inspector. So we can see that the lower glacis here is 30mm. It's not going to stop anything at all. The lower bit here is 20. This plate here is 20. Doesn't stop anything. This is 30. Over the driver's viewpoints and stuff, you've got basically 10mm of spaced armor on top of the 30, so it's 40mm in total. I'll start here. These side areas of the tank, the slope sides, are only 30mm thick, so they will not be and they're not on a ricochet angle, so pretty easy to pen. I suppose if they hit it like that, you might get a ricochet, but yeah, probably not. The frontal plate on the turret is 50mm, so it will bounce some other scout tanks, especially the lower tier, like a tier 3 or some tier 4 scout tanks. I have had Luxes bounce off me, so it may be that they were angled when they hit, or it could be they hit the mantlet, because the mantlet itself is pretty strong. You can see it's 50mm overlaying the 30, and some places even 50/50. But it's 50/30 in most places, so that gives you a fair bit, and even angles, it can come up pretty high. So yeah, if you can keep your tank sort of just showing the top when you're shooting at people and they return fire, you will get some bounces, especially from the Luchs and autocannons, because they're not accurate enough to aim. So moving on to the side armor, it is just 20, as is the rear. The top deck is 10 and the top of the turret is 16. That's about it, folks. Doesn't really have any armor of any note, and there's no point in angling the tank either.
Let's go.
The map is Arctic region. It's a tier 4 game, so we're top tier. This game you will see the single shotgun, so the one that has 64 mils of pen or something like that. So it's a single shotgun, and next game I'll show you the autocannon. So this one, yeah, we're top tier. This gun, I actually prefer this gun to the autocannon, but it's only really effective at tier 4 and tier 5. Once you get outside of tier 5, it really sort of suffers, this gun, whereas the autocannon is more effective across the tiers. But I really like the handling of the gun, and I just prefer this gun. So I'm trying to get early position straight across here to try and get on this hilly bit, because this gun has good gun depression in this tank and the mantlet is the strongest part. I'm going to try and do my best to only expose that, and I'm going to try and snipe anyone that comes across here. There's a T-28. We would be able to pen him quite easily, so I'd be happy if the T-28 came up. Marder, same thing, and that's the Panzer 38T, which is the tier 3 scout. We go into a Chihei there. Now we aim at the Panzer 4A, but somehow missed it there. I don't know how. As you can see with this gun, the reload is super fast for a single shotgun anyway. And I much prefer the play style that you can use with this gun to the autoloader, but like I say, at higher tiers, it's just a matter of using what works. Unfortunately, the 0.4 accuracy letting us down. Now, I don't know if that last shot hit. That looked like it should have gone straight into that Panzer 4 there, but for some reason it didn't. I know this looks like I'm doing a lot of missing. Some of it's lag when I'm shooting and the tank is gone, obviously, before I shoot. That's just lag, but there was one or two of those shots I thought probably should have gone in, but didn't. That one was lucky to go in. And so you can see at this sort of range, the accuracy is not fantastic. So the range there, 227 meters, and we're hitting the enemy Luchs. We bounce that shot. That one goes in. Oh, come on, one more, and we get him. Just got him in time. So that was good to get rid of the enemy Luchs, because he's probably one of our most feared tanks on the other team at this stage. Alright, so I decide now it's time to move up. We've got a T-70 and the Russian Tier 4 scout tank up in front of us there. Putting pressure on the enemy, so let's see if we can sneak up and steal some kills off him. Oh, I've accidentally exposed myself to 2 tanks at once, which is always a bad move. And the Panzer 38T, the Tier 3 version, or the Tier 3 German light tank, gets one into us. Actually, the Panzer IVa got one into us as well. They both got a shot into us at the same time. So, always bad news to expose yourself to the fire of more than one tank at a time. You always try and limit it so only one tank can see you at once. But I'm not that good. That doesn't always work for me. So we get one in there. He comes back to get a shot at us, which was very foolish of him. And we reload very quickly, as you can see. Super fast reload. Enables us to get rid of those 2 tanks there. Yeah, he really shouldn't have come back for that second shot. I think he just thought, you know, I won't have reloaded. So we get one of the Chihei here who is concentrating on someone else because his gun's still pointing at them. Now he's just realised I'm here, but it's too late. That reload is just super fast on this gun. And I think it does what, is it 70 damage per shot? 60 or 70 or something? Which, when you think the Matilda has a slightly faster reload than this, the Tier 4 British medium, which has a very fast rate of fire. It's a little bit faster, it's not much, but it only does 55 damage per shot. So in theory, yeah, your DPM's higher than a Matilda. The only thing, of course, the Matilda has armor. This doesn't really have any. So the enemy has 3 tanks left, and we have about 6 or 7. So we are just hoeing them down. Okay, I see there, I take notes. A Panzer IIIa looks like he's on top of the hill. And we've found Artie. Valentine AT. I see he's pointing this way, so I just fling a shot out as I'm moving, which hits him and tracks him, which is bad luck for him. Check out the reload. That's very fast. So pretty easy getting Rivati there. And now I'm going to go up this hill here because that's where I think I saw the Panzer III. However, if I'd been smart enough to look at my chart here, I'd see that they've only got 1 tank left, and it's not the one that was up here on the hill. But I don't think at the time during the gameplay actually noted which one was up here. I just know that there was one up here, and he's now dead. I can see his wreck's just there. I come up here to have a look to think, oh, someone else dived off the hill, but there's the Panzer 38NA, which is the other Tier 4 German scout tank. So that game was a Class 1, and we managed to get Top Gun as well. So you can see that single shot gun. It's actually quite an effective gun at Tiers 4 and 5. It's just when it gets higher it suffers. Finished on top. Not a lot to say there. We had a fair few tanks left at the end. Team did quite well. We fired 31 shots, 19 of those hit. A lot of it was sort of, you know, the 250 to 300 meter range, so you can understand some of those missing, and some of those misses looked a bit odd. Anyway, and bear in mind I had a bit of lag with moving tanks, so they actually probably is better than it looks there. But of the 19 hit, 17 penetrated, which is very good. We did 981 damage. We copped a couple of hits, they both penetrated. We spotted 2, damage 7 tanks, destroying 6, and did almost 400 in assistance damage as well. 26,000 income resulted in 24,000 profit. So of course, ammunition very, very cheap, low running costs, so good profit. 953 was enough for a Class 1.
Let's get this show on the road.
The map is Ruinberg. You can see the tank accelerates quite quickly there. Yes, the map's Ruinberg. It's a Tier 5 game. The enemy has 5 Tier 5s, although 2 of them are artillery. We have 4 Tier 5s, and one of ours is artillery. There are some Tier 3s in this game as well. So I'm going up quickly just to get the initial spots to see what's out there and just to let our team know how many tanks they should be sending up this way. And we've spotted a few there, about 4 tanks. I have also been spotted as I expected, which is why I started backing away straight away. And now I'm going to move up into a better position. I don't fancy shooting from here. So this time I have the autoloader gun fitted. You can see it's a very thin, skinny gun. That's how you can always tell if they've got the autoloader or not. It's like a pencil, the autoloader. So I knew I had been spotted. So I've taken a position a little bit back from the front line. And we immediately get some shots there into that Panzer I Tier 3 tank, into its side, no problem penetrating as you saw. And we've got line up, is that a Panzer 4? No, it's a Panzer 4D, yep. So hopefully he comes back to where he was. No, he's not coming back, but we've got a Cruiser 4. We get a couple of shots into him, and then put the rest of them into that Stug G that was waiting there behind him. And someone's shooting at us, so I just move out of the way and get back into cover while I'm reloading. And we've reloaded. Doesn't look like we're going to get any more easy kills of people driving in front of our guns, so it might be time to move up a little bit. Got a KV-1S there, a heavy tank moving up, so hopefully people shooting at him will be exposing themselves. I see someone across here. Haven't got a shot just yet. There's a Hetzer there. But this M5 Stuart goes out into the open. And we missed with most of them, hitting the tank that he was driving next to. You can see the accuracy of this gun isn't good, especially if you're not stationary and you haven't fully aimed and all that. Yeah. Okay, Stug, can we reload in time? No. Alright, we've reloaded again. And, ooh, nah. Don't have a shot. Uh-oh. Hetzer. Nearly. Not quite enough to kill him, but he catches fire. How lucky was that? So we didn't have enough in our clip to kill him, but he caught fire and died. So that was lucky. Oh, I've just been shot by an M3 Stuart. And you can see we actually bounced the 3 shots from that M3 Stuart. That's how bad the M3 Stuart's gun is. But anyway. It is only a tier 3. Is that artillery? It looks like one of their artillery, I think it's the HMC, has moved up to the front line. So we ended up getting 2 kills there because I saw the Stuart pop out, but I was already aiming on the other guy, so I shot the other guy and then turned and used the rest of my clip on the Stuart. So managed to just get 2 quick kills there. Time to move up, I think. We're reloaded. So even though I said the reload is very long on this gun for a tier 4 tank, there's the artillery. What is he doing there? He fires at us and misses. Fortunately for us, because that would have probably finished our game. But we didn't give him a lot to shoot at. So moving forward, and there is an E4. Is that the Jumbo? I can't remember. The numbers on these American tanks, they just confuse the heck out of me. So anyway, moving forward, using the bushes, and on this side of the road there is a little bit of a depression here, which can use to stay down. Oh, we've got a Panzer 4H. He can one-shot kill us if he's got the big gun. He hasn't seen us. I've only just been spotted. How's that for camo? And unload. Oh, we've been hit by the E4. Run, run, run away. Wow, we were camouflaged right until he proximity spotted us. Basically, that was it. That's good camo, isn't it? Or either that or he's got terrible view range. He may have an untrained crew, I think. Alright, so here he comes. He's coming after us, and we've got a side shot. And we finish him off. Hallelujah. Okay, so that was a mastery game in the tank and was also a top gun. You can see that tier 5, tier 4, this gun works very, very well. That penetration of 95mm rips most tanks apart. We were lucky we didn't come across any big heavy tanks. Frontally, heavy tanks are a problem even at tier 5. But if you can get the sides, as we saw then, I think that was a Jumbo that was coming at us. You get the side, you were right. The front of them, we would have probably struggled. Anyway, let's go to the next screen. And obviously we finished on top in that game, and pretty good game. The KV-1S did a bit of damage, and that Jumbo we killed at the end there was their best player, although it looks like he did get a team kill, so he must have accidentally shot someone. Hopefully it was accidental. We fired 80 rounds, 41 of them hit, and of the 41, 32 penetrated. So mostly tier 4s and tier 3s and stuff that we were shooting at. If you're in a tier 7 game, expect to get about 5 penetrations. Damage of 938. We received 4 hits. Only one of them penetrated, so I think we had that tier 3 tank shooting at us. The armor held up okay. Damage block armor 12, yeah, so that was definitely low tier tank shooting at us. Enemy vehicle spotted 4. We damaged 9, destroying 6, and 477 assistance as well. Once again, you can see quite profitable, and 986 is enough for mastery, which is surprisingly low actually. There you go. Thank you for watching my review of the Panzer II Luchs. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.